This is the next in a series of field notes about how I'm thinking about using and working with AI in a sustainably cognitive high performance way. These are experiences that have been really helping me to accelerate the way that I'm able to engage with and use AI and yet still deliver complex quality software that I understand, am able to support and maintain, as well as doing deep research writing. I've explored this in far too much detail in the AI Productivity Paradox article, and we'll be reflecting on some of the cognitive science there, but AI is continuing to advance, and some of the key changes that have happened recently have made some parts of using AI in a deep pairing way, as I've discussed in the article, much harder. So I wanted to share with you what's really been working for me in terms of being able to maximize the way that I'm using AI and yet still stay cognitively high performant, get into flow, and have amazing days, right? Still end feeling energized and not just overwhelmed and burned out from a ton of reviews, which I feel I've done a really crappy job on. These are experiences that I've been having myself, but also in working with people who are leaning into cognitive high performance in a sustainable way, the people I'm working with in the Make Time Flow community. So the AI agents and models are getting better and better, and the tooling around them as well. Claude Code in particular has been an amazing tool. I've done some videos about some work that I'm doing with Claude Cowork as well. And there are, of course, other amazing AI systems out there. What's come along with it, of course, though, is this new features in which it does a lot deeper thinking. This seems to be very helpful, but it also takes a lot more time. And what are you doing while you sit there? I would say that the structure of our computer systems and the programming that we've been getting inside this attention economy and this world that seems to suggest that we should be multitasking all the time has programmed our brains to seek that kind of stimulation. And I would argue that the vast majority of people are command tabbing away to another application, another thing, getting other things done, they think, in between. Unfortunately, the cognitive science seems to be pretty clear, right? We don't really multitask. We monotask, and then when we try to multitask, we do it even more badly. This means that when you are switching between different things, you think that you're being twice as performant, but as you switch, the very switching eats away at the things that are super limited in our brains, and primarily our working memory, which we used to think we had a whopping 7 plus or minus 2, but it looks like later data supports that there's only around 4 elements in working memory that we can do. So you switch from one AI agent to another AI agent working in a very different context, and that switching is starting to eat away at all of the learning that you've done in between. Sometimes these are within the same space and you can keep that learning going, and sometimes you're going to be in this collaborative mode, right? This mode where basically I'm trying to get things set up and I'm delegating, and then I'm going to dive into some deep space. Some of the things that you do in similar situations when we're with lots of people and we're sort of holding lots of conversations. Those are not deep thinking spaces. Those are spaces when you are touching and triaging, but you are not staying in this proactive zone, the place where your mind can go into flow, the way that it can integrate holistically lots of different things, the way that it learns best. And the way that it's able to sustain high energy for these longer periods of time, still within limits. Right? So what do I do? And what do I recommend you do as your agent goes into this thinking mode? My key advice is simple. Stay in the zone. When these are tasks that matter to you, right? When they're complex, where there are areas you don't know, or there are risks, or they're going to be really meaningful if they're done well, stay in the zone. That's the mantra. Right? There are 2 key ways to stay in the zone, and the one you have full access to, I'm sure. The main thing with staying in the zone is you need some way to put your keyboard away and keep open a thinking space for yourself. And the simplest of all of those is just having a piece of paper and a pen with you. Stay thinking about the problem. Think ahead. What do you think the AI is going to be saying? What are the issues? What are you going to do next once this part of it is solved? Stay in the zone. Be proactive. Your brain can then understand what are all the elements that I need to integrate that are there. You're going to be better prepared when the system comes back with a review. Right? You're going to be able to understand if it's going in the right direction or if it's a surprise. And you can also continue to say, what are the things that it might do that I don't understand yet? And let me be learning about those things as it's adding in these tools. I've seen some recommendations that perhaps one of the most powerful things that's massively underutilized is the ability to use it as a learning tool for us. But you should stay within the problem space, not wandering off as you should do in your golden time with curiosity as a superpower. Here, you're trying to stay within the context of the space, staying in the zone. In the Make Time Flow system, the thing that's really been a power up for me is, yes, using paper, yes, staying in the zone while doing that, but then also I want to think ahead about the other things that I'm doing. And that's where the flow mode has become the superpower for me. So when you start an intentional timer in Make Time Flow, then you get the space below where it says, you are probably going to break this down. As Csikszentmihalyi had studied, there's a recipe to flow. And one of the ways that you can maintain flow even while doing big, hard things is to break it down. Break it down into smaller and smaller chunks. So you've got the agent taking an approach or thinking about different ones. Stay here in the zone. Think about what's going to be coming next. Think about what you need to test for, what you need to be looking for. I have seen when I'm working on a particularly complex area that these can grow to a large number of things that I am so well prepared for. Sometimes, yes, I just copy and paste it in as issues that I want the system to address, but much of the time it's just helping me as a thinking space. The flow system intentionally tries to help you stay focused by keeping you in this flow mode. Right? I've had a lot of opportunity to think about how could you easily switch between multiple different timers and can it help you to continue tracking that. And I think actually it's a creative constraint that is going to be helpful if it stays guiding you back towards stay focused in the zone. So yes, it is possible, especially to set these rabbit hole timers, which when you're doing some deep work and you have to look up something in a distracting space, you go and get it. And you use a timer to bring you back because you know that those can be distracting. But otherwise, you use the declaration of this flow mode as a way to, one, reprogram your brain to not seek the distractions that those 5 to 6 minute interruptions that our phones have programmed us for. Lets you make that declaration by seeing, I'm in the space. I say that I'm going to work on this big thing. I'm going to keep breaking it down. The other one that it can help you do is that it can create space for you, protecting that time. Yes, you might have lots of other things that are waiting on you, but you have carved out this time blocking it effectively, and then guarding that with this approach. But you don't have to do this. As I said, you can do this just on paper. If you've got some other tasking system, then I highly recommend, if you are going to load it up, don't put it in a mode where you see only the tasks related to the thing you're working on. Seeing all the other tasks will be super distracting for you and will easily draw you away. Be very cautious and careful of the other distracting tools and technologies. Generally try to extract from email and other things, Slack, for example, the things that you need in order to do your work before you do it. That's part of the power up of doing the shutdown ritual and preparing to do your work well. And turn on do not disturb mode. Another key helpful one is that can maximize your productivity is, where does your phone go? Even just having it face down on the desk can trigger a lot of those impulses that say, should I check for something? So behind you in a drawer, in another room, somewhere where you don't see it as that communication device in the same way, it will distract you. So do what you can. Stay in the zone. Put the keyboard away while it's working and stay focused on the problem space. Use external artifacts to amplify the ability of your brain's limited working capacity to continue to work through and iterate on the problems that are there. Continue to think about what the next steps are going to be. Stay in that proactive zone. Give yourself enough time. Get into flow. Okay, go make amazing things. Be high performance, right? Use AI intelligently and wisely. And I hope you have amazing days. Thanks.